Hello there, thanks for joining me this Saturday. I'm Muhammad Ahmad Hamdan and these are your top stories. No fuel subsidy for luxury car owners, says Finance Minister. BN defectors will be vetted before joining Bersatu. And 7 pilgrims killed in bus ambush. Hello, you're watching 7 Edition. Owners of luxury cars with engine capacity of 1,500cc or less can forget about getting the fuel subsidies next year. Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng stressed that the subsidy was initially targeted at the lower income group or B40. When tabling the 2019 budget yesterday, the Finance Minister announced motorists driving cars with engine capacities below 1,500cc and riding motorcycles below 125cc can enjoy RON 95 petrol at a lower price. However, netizens on social media criticized the announcement, saying that luxury car owners of lower engine capacity could capitalize on the fuel subsidies meant for lower income groups.
Kita nak kaji macam mana kita boleh perluaskan supaya kita tak hanya hadkan kepada B40. Tapi yang saya boleh tegaskan di sini, yang dapat kereta mewah jangan harap.
Eligible cars can receive the subsidy of up to 100 litres per month, while motorcycles are eligible for 40 litres per month. This new mechanism will be introduced in the second quarter of next year, after which the government plans to reintroduce price float for RON 95 fuel. The new fuel subsidy mechanism to be implemented next year will take into account the vehicle's age and the people's income level. The Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Minister Datuk Sri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail said the subsidy mechanism has yet to be finalised and will contain additional criteria that were not part of the 2019 budget announcement yesterday. According to Datuk Sri Saifuddin, his ministry will seek inputs from the public, who are the main stakeholders in the implementation of the mechanism.
Jadi pandangan rakyat, pandangan jemaah menteri, pandangan oil companies, pandangan petrol dealers, pandangan persatuan pengguna, semua tu akan kami ambil dan kami ada masa lebih kurang 4 bulan. Kalau saya perlu lanjutkan, saya lanjutkan lagi lah sampai betul-betul kita boleh memberikan win-win solution kepada semua stakeholders.
His ministry would hold its first meeting with the Finance Ministry on November 8th to find the best formula to kickstart the scheme. Datuk Sri Saifuddin said proper implementation of the subsidy mechanism will benefit the government, as every cent spent would reach the deserving groups. Those in the top 20 category should not be disappointed, as they have higher income. Meanwhile, Datuk Sri Saifuddin said the 2018 Deepavali festive season price control scheme was smoothly implemented, with listed items being sold at controlled or lower prices. After visiting the Kulim public market this morning, the minister found that the people were aware of the scheme and price tags had been displayed at all the premises.
Walaupun begitu, saya suka mengambil peluang ini untuk terus menasihati peniaga agar sepanjang tempoh skim kawalan harga ini berjalan untuk sedapat mungkin patuh kepada peraturan kawalan harga. Ya, kegagalan mematuhinya hanya akan mengundang pegawai penguatkuasa saya sampai dan mengambil tindakan.
The minister also said he noticed a decrease in prices of essential items during the inspection, with certain items priced even lower than the ceiling price set, such as fresh mutton, which is sold at 42 ringgit per kilogram. As many as 16 items, such as chicken, mutton, chicken eggs, tomatoes, coconut, onions, potatoes and lentils were listed under the scheme in conjunction with the Deepavali celebrations this coming Tuesday. In the meantime, Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Wan Azizah Wan Ismail described the 2019 budget unveiled yesterday as a commendable effort by the government to improve the rakyat's well-being amid a challenging economic environment. After officiating the National Family Month celebration 2018 in Seremban earlier today, she said despite the huge national debt left by the previous administration, the government still managed to formulate a favourable budget for the rakyat.
Dalam masalah negara sekarang menghadapi banyak hutang negara, ini satu bajet yang baiklah, ya, kerana dia memberikan banyak insentif dan juga pertolongan untuk rakyat. Ini merakyatkan, ya, bajet ini. Ini adalah salah satu daripada apa yang dibentangkan. Saya kira bahawa pembentangan yang beri kepada rakyat itu dan juga untuk saya because whatever was given in the event that now that we have a problem with our economy, but then because the price of oil has gone up, then we have done well. And what we want to do is that to give whatever benefits back to the rakyat.
Datuk Seri Dr. Wan Azizah, who is also Women Family Development Minister, lauded the 45 million ringgit allocation for the Suri Incentive Scheme or the Employees Provident Fund for housewives. She also said the 10 million ringgit allocation included in the new budget to supplement 50 nurseries at government offices would ease the burden of working mothers. Barisan Nasional elected representatives will not be allowed to join Bersatu en masse and will instead be subjected to vetting. Speaking to reporters after chairing the Pakatan Harapan Presidential Council meeting in Putrajaya today, Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad also said they need to quit their party before their applications can be considered.
But there is no decision to accept them en masse, no. But if they leave the party and become neutral, become independent, and they support the government, and they appeal on bended knees that they want to join us, we may consider.
It was reported that at least 40 BN MPs, mostly from UMNO, are planning to quit the party to join Bersatu. Meanwhile, the Premier has brushed aside criticism by the opposition that Pakatan Harapan's maiden national budget is a copy and paste work. He also said the 2019 budget was generally well received by the public, despite claims that it was just a small budget. Now, the MCA kicked off its party polls earlier today on the road to determine the future of the 69-year-old party in the years to come. To get the updates, let's cross over to our reporter Ridwan Hussein live from Wisma MCA. Ridwan, what do you have for us?
Yes, Muhammad, it is definitely the day for MCA this weekend, as the outcome of the party will not only choose a leader for their party but crucial to determine the future of the 69-year-old party in the years to come. And while morale on the ground has been at an all-time low since May 9th, the fighting spirit has somewhat rekindled during this late. And so supposedly it should be the youth and the Wanita elections today, but apparently for those contesting for the posts in the women wing have won uncontested from the chairman down to the committee member posts. And while for the youth elections today, 47 candidates fighting for 31 posts, which are the chairman, deputy chairman, 4 vice presidents of chairman and 25 central committee members, and some 8,337 youth delegates eligible to vote today. But the media, which has been here since 7 p.m. Have yet to receive the full turnout or we can say the official turnout rate. And I was just told that until 5:30 p.m, 2,546 people, or 30.54%, have voted. And the results here has started to come in since 7:30 p.m. here at the Wisma MCA from 160 polling stations, and the results are expected to be announced in by 11 p.m. And for the youth chairman's post, former youth vice chairman Nicol Wong Xiao Ting is in a straight fight with MCA Legal Bureau Chief Ng Kian Nam. Yes, the election for the youth is today, but all eyes are definitely on the polls tomorrow as a new team for the central leadership will be voted in. And 68 candidates will be gunning for 31 party top posts: the president, deputy presidents, 4 vice presidents, and the 25 central committee members. In the spotlight is, of course, the three-cornered fight of the president post, which is essentially a fight between the incumbent deputy president Datuk Sri Dr. Wee Ka Siong, 50 years old, and Kluang MCA chairman Gan Ping Siao, 52. While the third candidate is the 31-year-old Bruas MCA Division Youth Chief Ngo Tek Kiong. And tomorrow will be involved some 32,000 divisional delegates from 188 nationwide divisions will cast their votes between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. tomorrow. With that, Mohammed, I think that's all the update that I can give from Wisma MCA on the elections youth for MCA. Back to you, Mohammed.
Thank you, Ridwan, for those updates on the MCA party polls. Moving on, the first phase of the Sabah PKR party election went smoothly today, with polling stations at 12 divisions closed at 4 p.m. Sabah PKR has about 150,000 members in 25 divisions, which is the second largest after Selangor with 220,000. More than 40% of party members cast their votes, and the results are expected to be known by tonight.
I have been here since 8 o'clock. No issue also bergaduh dengan siapa-siapa. All carry out very peacefully. The election carry out very peacefully. See the barbarism, but they are a bit rowdy outside lah. Unti siapa. But otherwise, I'm very puas hati lah. Saya puas hati, cukup puas hati.
The 12 divisions involved in today's polling include Kota Marudu, Tuaran, Sepanggar, Kota Kinabalu and Beaufort. A minor scuffle, however, was reported in Keningau after several members became angry, claiming the polling centre was closed 5 minutes earlier. The second phase of voting will be held tomorrow, involving the remaining 13 divisions. The government has confirmed that fugitive businessman Low Taek Joe, or Joe Low, is not in China. The finance minister said he was informed by the Chinese embassy that based on China's record, no individual by the name of Joe Low is in the country.
I've spoken to the Chinese ambassador, and he has said that Joe Low is not in China unless he uses a different name on a different passport. But according to their records, there's no name, no person called Joe Low in China, because they have not processed a person entering China.
Yesterday, Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad said Joe Low was hiding like a rat after being tracked down by various parties, including authorities in Malaysia and the United States. The U.S. Department of Justice, DOJ, in a statement yesterday said Low and 2 former Goldman Sachs bankers, Roger Ng and Tim Leisner, were charged in the federal court in New York for conspiring to steal millions of dollars from One Malaysia Development Berhad. The DOJ stated that Low and Ng were also charged with violating the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act by paying a third person in the Malaysian government and Abu Dhabi. In other news, 3 primary school teachers have been remanded for 3 days by the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission (MACC) for allegedly soliciting a bribe of 5,000 ringgit. The 2 senior teachers and a headmaster of a school in Klang, Selangor were detained yesterday evening to facilitate an investigation into the case. Upon their arrest at a restaurant in Port Klang, 5,000 ringgit cash believed to be the bribe money was also recovered at the location. The suspects, aged 35, 41 and 52, had allegedly asked for and received the money from another teacher to support the latter's application for a transfer to another school. The case is being investigated under Section 16 and 17A of the MACC Act for receiving and soliciting gratification. Meanwhile, in Pulau Pinang, police busted a drug syndicate and uncovered a drug lab. 7 individuals were also arrested and drugs and luxury items worth over 900,000 ringgit were seized. State Police Chief Datuk Sri A. Tai Vigan said a crack team of anti-narcotics officers from Bukit Aman and Pulau Pinang raided 3 houses in a pre-dawn swoop on Thursday. One of them was a landed property in Changat, Minden. One was at the Gold Coast condominiums and another was an apartment at Minden Heights. The 2-hour operation, which started at 3 a.m., netted a cash of up to 534,000 ringgit worth of ecstasy pills and 390,000 ringgit worth of luxury items. 12 rounds of ammunition were also found, and police are now trying to ascertain if any of the suspects owned firearms. The suspects, 4 men and 3 women, are believed to be the manufacturers and distributors. They have been remanded until November 7th to assist the investigation for drug trafficking. The man who died in a fire at Taman Pandan Indah, Kuantan last night was believed to have been murdered. Pahang police said a 34-year-old suspect, who is also the victim's housemate, has been arrested. The victim has been identified as M. Suhairi Wahab, aged 35, an admin assistant at the Kuantan Land and Mines office. His body was found with severe head injuries and was partially burned. It is believed that the suspect had murdered the victim before burning his room. Police are now waiting for the post-mortem report to confirm the cause of death. It was reported that the victim's body was found with his head covered with a pillow. An initial investigation showed the victim had been staying in the rented house with a friend for the past 3 years. And coming up after the break, flying bicycle parts severely injures teen. Don't go away. Welcome back. Let's head into the daily segment Clickbait, where we take a look at what's trending and making rounds in the cyber world today. Sadly, it has become a norm for many who stay at low-cost flats or apartments to casually throw their rubbish out their window and down it goes, landing on the lowest floor. But as the habit grows, rubbish evolve into chairs or metal things, which at a high chance can strike a human being, if not on the ground. We've heard a boy who died after a chair struck him at the Pantai Dalam flats earlier this year, and a man who received 14 stitches after a window pane thrown from the upper floor of a USJ flat landed on his head. Now, just yesterday, a boy suffered a cut on the right side of his head after a part of a bicycle thrown from the upper floor of a PKR flat in Gombak Setia struck him. The unlucky boy suffered a cut on the right side of his head, which left him bloodied. His uncle Musa Tarmizi shared the incident through his Facebook, which received some fiery comments from netizens. Many would say that Musa's nephew was lucky to survive the incident, but one can only hope that the next incident doesn't involve death. My advice to our viewers out there, take the effort to continually report to authorities about these culprits and litterbugs, as their bad habit has been proven to be very dangerous. Now updated as of 7 p.m, here are the top trending topics and searches on the internet today. Homegrown designer shoemaker Luray Bespoke secured a spot in the Malaysia Book of Records after introducing a pair of shoes worth 5 million ringgit, dubbed the most expensive in the country. The sparkly bridal shoes are embellished with 188 pieces of 32-carat diamond and nearly 90 grams of 18-carat white gold. Take a look at the collection. Stitching and placing gold and diamonds on a pair of 4-inch high-heeled bridal shoes took 2 months. But the whole process of completing this pair of bling footwear took half a year. What made it exclusive to be recognized as the most expensive bridal shoes by the Malaysia Book of Records, however, is the premium Italian tea Raso silk and 18-carat white gold weighing 88.88 grams in total. The pair was exclusively designed by Luray Bespoke founder Datuk Luray Lu, adapted from plans for the brand's upcoming I Love You premium collection, which will showcase 12 designs featuring different birthstones in collaboration with jeweler Cartivia Italy.
Very difficult part bukan design kasut dia. How to coordinate diamond, macam jahit, bukan saja jahit tapi macam tak boleh jatuh kan. Kalau diamond jatuh dia takut macam mana semua nak follow ya. So mesti nak seksi, mesti nak elegant, boleh pakai. Wearable.
The shoes caught the eyes of the Pahang Sultanah Hajah Kalsum, who donned the heels at its official launch recently. 7 more of Datuk Luray Lu's masterpieces are being sold throughout the world at a hefty price of 5 million ringgit. And now it's time for our My Game On segment. We're bringing you the latest esports news in Malaysia. The tabling of the 2019 budget has not only recognized esports, but has also given a huge opportunity to develop an ecosystem for gaming. This positive financial impact will help nurture future talents and professionals into creating the next ASEAN esports hub in Malaysia. Wanizul Islam has more.
Good news, esports fans, the government has just allocated 10 million ringgit for the development of esports next year. Now let's go take a look at some of the esports influencers and what they think about this and where do they think they should allocate this generous fund. Let's go. With esports being a relatively new and growing field, the government has shown much interest into developing the industry, especially from the grassroots. While many believe that next year's budget is a step forward for growth in the esports scene, they are also concerned with the distribution of the esports budget to the right parties.
It's a great move, it's a positive move for Malaysian esports, and I think we need to make the best out of it. Whoever gets the budget, it needs to be distributed properly, but it is a great start and I am really optimistic to see what it can bring for us, and hopefully it will propel us to the international stage and where we want to be.
I think it's a great step forward to have the government encourage this thing. We've seen tournaments where they're encouraged by the Ministry of Education. The thing I kind of worry about is that it's a big budget, so allocating might be a difficult thing.
Funds from the esports budget should be utilised in building the necessary infrastructure to nurture professional players and talents, whilst increasing production value within the industry. The government should also focus on establishing organisations that can help with managing professional and national teams or events to increase tournament integrity.
For me, I think it's to build a stable foundation and ecosystem for esports. You have a proper league for teams to participate in constantly.
Having the tournaments encourages more people to enter them. Also, you can use a bit of it as scholarship.
Regarding the taxation of digital services such as Steam, Spotify and Netflix, some have considered the decision to be very unpopular. However, others look to the positive on how this tax could help generate income for the future of esports and entertainment in Malaysia.
I think it's a good thing for the government to actually recognize now esports. It's for the funding for 10 million. So now about the taxing and everything, it's actually a quite good thing because we need the money to fund these esport activities, and we know that the esport events is actually quite expensive. So
One Izul Islam, 7 Edition.
Now, when we return, divers spot main wreckage of downed Lion Air plane. The details up next. Now on to the updates of the crashed Lion Air flights. Indonesian divers found the main wreckage of the downed jet that crashed into the Java Sea, a breakthrough in a week-long search for victims, and the cockpit voice recorder that holds a key to unraveling the reason for the accident. The fuselage and engines were also reportedly found. Meanwhile, an Indonesian rescue diver involved in the recovery operation of the ill-fated jet died on Friday. He was a volunteer from the Indonesia Search and Rescue Agency. According to the National Search and Rescue Agency, Basarnas, Syakrul Anto, aged 48, is believed to have died from decompression. In Egypt, at least 7 Coptic Christians have been killed, while 19 others injured in an ambush bus attack in Minya province on Friday. Among the dead were 2 children aged 12 and 15 years old. The incident occurred when the 3 buses carrying pilgrims were returning from baptizing a child at a Coptic monastery. According to local news agency, the Daesh group has claimed responsibility for the attack. It said the attack came as revenge for the imprisonment by Egyptian authorities of quote-unquote our chaste sisters. That's all for this evening. To wrap up 7 Edition, we leave you with a final trailer of Bohemian Rhapsody starring Rami Malek as the late Queen frontman Freddie Mercury. The long-awaited biographical film about the legendary British rock band Queen will hit Malaysian theatres in 3 days. I'm Muhammad Ahmad Hamdan. Thanks for tuning in and good night.
So, tell me, what makes Queen any different from all of the other wannabe rock stars that I meet?
So now the family name's not good enough for you. I've changed it legally.
Freddie, could you tell us about the rumours concerning your sexuality?
Queen, how long can that last?